welcome back to Me Time with Ruby. We've swapped sides. You know, how uncomfortable does that sound?
Really
Out of our comfort
strange.
zone, isn't it? It's like, oh, we don't like it.
This will either be really good or really bad tonight, depending on whether this works or not.
what the vibe is.
Yeah.
At the moment, it doesn't feel comfortable for me, but I don't know about you.
I can't figure out how to sit.
It's like the whole thing. Isn't it weird how we automatically sat
Yes.
like we did on the first episode?
Yes.
And we have stayed like that. I remember when I used to do my training, people used to sit in it because we didn't sit behind desks, it was like in a circle, and people tended to gravitate towards the same
Always have
seat.
the same spot. But we've also both now said that this way round is our best sides. So
Yes,
that's maybe why. Thank goodness we have opposing sides.
So you'll have to bear with us if we mess up. It's because we're sitting on the wrong side of the sofa. So it's going to really throw us when we have guests as well. Where are they going to sit? On the floor.
Over there.
On the table, on the coffee table or something. So welcome back. We usually start off with what we've done this week, but I'm just thinking, what day is it? Where are we?
I think it's Tuesday.
I think it's Tuesday. So I went up to Suppliers at the weekend and bought lots of new stock. It was really interesting, and I decided to get a bit trendy, and apparently pumps are in, so I'm told. So I've got some pumps with no socks, which again is out of my comfort zone.
It's very cool, isn't it? And actually, because of the lace, in the summer your feet will stay cool if you don't have the socks
I'm just a
on.
bit worried that I might get a suntan, lacy suntan.
No.
That usually happens with my flip flops. So
You'll have to tan before you put the lotion on before you do it.
I could do, couldn't I? Yeah, that's a good idea. So these are really lovely. So these have just come in. I have to put them up. So they're really great. I should have a pair to show you as well, actually, really, shouldn't I? But
Well, I love that because it's similar style, but you had them in the pink as well.
we've had different types of pumps in. And there is the ones that we've just got in the pink, which are really lovely, almost like a.
It's like a
blush.
dusky,
Pink.
blush.
Blush sort of
really
pink,
nice.
really
Go
lovely.
with everything.
And what I like about those is the sole is the same colour.
Yes.
I don't know why I like that,
Yeah.
but I do like that. And we've got some really, you haven't seen them yet, but we've got some really gorgeous red ones in as well. So maybe you can do some Instagram stuff with
I
those.
shall. And also this.
I know.
I
love
saw
that.
it on the hanger and I was like, well, I'm wearing that tonight. I love that I just get to come and choose something fabulous to wear
But
for
it's
this.
lots of different colours together, which is you, isn't it?
Stunning,
So, no, I bought one when they came in because I love them so much. At the moment, like you've got yours with jeans, but when the weather changes, nice to wear as a dress as well as the top.
Yeah. And also you could sort of put some heels on, couldn't you, and kind of jazz it up for an evening, or a pair of pumps.
But you've put a nice necklace on there with it.
I've dressed.
So you just
dressed
throw
it
things
up
on and just look amazing.
Well, it's your stock.
So what have you been up to this week?
I have no idea. You asked me this, and I really need to write it down before the camera starts because I never know. The weekend, I feel like we must have done something.
Well, I really wish you said the end of last week because we've changed
Yeah,
our
of course.
filming day,
That's
haven't we?
right.
So we used to film on a Thursday, which when I said what have you done this week made more
There's
sense.
been a bit more time in the week.
But now we're only like a day into the week.
That's
so
right.
what did you do last week then? You can't even remember, can you?
It's
She's
just
got two small
so
children.
long ago. I mean, this morning, I could probably just about tell you what I did this morning. The kids basically just take up my brain power. But I mean, it's really lovely. I tell you what I'm enjoying is my youngest is starting school in September, sort of full time. So 2 days a week I get her at home, and then the other days she's at nursery. So I'm just trying to really cherish those last few months before she's off.
That's interesting. So I remember when I was little, I couldn't wait for them to go
Well,
full time.
there is
as much
that.
As I love
Yeah.
them, as
No,
much
no.
as I love them,
There is that.
there is something about. But then I think, you are.
You're never going to have this time again, and that's what I'm trying to remember. So when we do have that time, it is just like trying to actually actively enjoy it. So on Friday it was really lovely. We go and sort of see a little friend or whatever, have a little trip to the park or a walk, and just kind of try and enjoy it. So
I mean, me time. Interestingly, it's called Ruby. Me time with Ruby, but me time is really important. Even I think if you're in a family, it's important to be a couple. It's important to be individuals, and it's important to be a family. And I just think about sort of you spending time with your daughter, and maybe and I think with our children, it's good to spend individual time with them too.
I think so,
because those memories are really important.
Well, they are, and I think the issue that I have quite a lot is that my son is 10, she is 4, So it's always like, go and play together, and then there's screaming because, you know, the age difference. So it's, as you say, it's really nice to have that time with just one or then the other. And, you know, we say me time, but it's just that time with them, isn't it? You know, and that's kind of trying to make that special as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been a nice week. It's been nice.
That's good. So what are we talking about this week?
Well, this week we are talking about the capsule wardrobe. So I think we might have touched on it a little bit last
Very
week.
uncomfortable, that end of the sofa.
So uncomfortable. Can you tell? I just don't know what to do with myself.
I can tell, because normally you sit here and
Yeah.
everything's tanned, and
I feel a little bit
will
more
go
relaxed
back
on
the
this
other way
side.
next week.
I feel a bit more. I think it's this dress. It's made
It
of
was just the way you
cocktails.
were like, right, and I'm thinking, you're not comfortable, are you? It's fine.
Yeah, I think we touched a little bit on capsule wardrobes last week with the classic sort of capsule. So this week I kind of wanted to talk about how we can bring those classic items in, but then how to upkeep the wardrobe. So for a lot of people, they might feel a bit overwhelmed with all the clothes they've got, especially over lockdown where we've all done a lot of accidental shopping. Myself included, a lot of accidental shopping. I'm just so thankful that I have an Instagram page that lets me actually wear it all in pictures, because otherwise I'd have wardrobes full of clothes that I would never wear. So for some people, they might be feeling a bit overwhelmed with their wardrobe, so it's just kind of about paring it back. And it doesn't mean get rid of everything, but it just means creating a sort of set wardrobe of 30 to 50 pieces that is just a go-to. So that would include things like pajamas, shoes, bags, everything.
Okay.
So if you're feeling particularly clever, 30 to 50, which doesn't sound too bad until you start counting in things like little strappy tops, you know, like a cardigan, a jacket, or your coats. So yeah.
So that's the whole year, because I'm thinking about, are we talking about some, because I've got a sort of summer wardrobe and
Exactly.
winter wardrobe.
So it would be two separate things. So that is sort of one of the things we look at. But yeah, so just creating that capsule of about 30 to 50 pieces that you draw from. You can change it monthly, you know, if you've got all the other clothes sort of tucked away somewhere. But it's just for anyone who's feeling a bit, they open their cupboards and feel like they're kind of being hit in the face with colour and pattern and don't know what to do with it all. And so first of all in the blog I just talk about how to kind of create that initial capsule looking at classic pieces, and actually a lot of the pieces people might already have in their wardrobes. It's a lot of the neutrals, navy, white, black.
So some sort of stuff you've been talking about the last couple of weeks.
Exactly, yeah. So, you know, just looking at really classic pieces, and I think we sort of mentioned last week sort of a lovely leather jacket, really nice pair of jeans, pair of sort of fit trousers, a shirt. But the thing is, within those, you know, items, you've got so many different variations. You could have a wrap shirt, you could have a button-down shirt, you could have, you know, a collar, no collar. There's so many different variations of each item, so it's, you can still kind of create your own style, sort of within that. It's not just a boring uniform of white and black. You know, you can kind of create your own look. So I thought I'd just pull a couple of really classic items, but I like classic with a twist still. So this is obviously really classic trench, but just has these lovely sleeves.
I think this is, you used
The
this
very beginning, I
to
think.
talk about something else
Yeah.
as well, didn't you? But
And it's just one of
you're
those
gravitating
items
towards
I
it.
think can just be used for so many different things.
Well, I think that's interesting that it's come out again in another episode, because that does
Absolutely.
mean that it runs through.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was when we were talking about the puff sleeves.
Yes, yeah.
But it's just so classic with, you know, a trench is timeless, and that's what's so nice about this item. And I think you don't find really nice trench coats on the high street a lot. You know, I always go out because I love them, and I do, as you say, I kind of gravitate towards things like this look. And I think as soon as I started working here, I was like, oh, that's nice, you know. So yeah, something like that, just really nice to just have in the wardrobe. Other things would be just a lovely neutral skirt of some kind that you could just wear with everything.
Just a little bit
With
of
your
a
twist, exactly, always with a twist. For me, you know, personally, I just love like little really quirky little buttons and things. It's just so nice. But just things that you could literally just go to your closet, pull out, and just put together with any of the other pieces.
See, that would look quite nice with a white. I think we've actually got a white classic shirt with sort of amber buttons on it.
Yes.
And that would go with that.
Absolutely. And then, I mean, this is one item that I pulled just because I wore this for one of the pictures on Instagram. I wore it as a shirt under the leather skirt. So obviously it's a dress, but I wore it under the skirt and it looked so nice. This real oversized, loose sort of untailored. It's just so lovely. And obviously it still kind of has the classic look because it's got the collar, it's got the buttons, but then you could do it all the way up. See, I do things like this all the way up.
Yeah, I like things too.
But then, as you say, it's got a little bit of a sheen to it. It's just something a bit different. It's your classic with a twist again. But and then you've also got it as a dress, so it's a sort of hard-working piece.
And wear it as an overshirt.
Yeah.
It looks great with strappy maxi dress, maybe.
Absolutely. If you know, so some people, like my mum, for example, she'll never go out with straps. She'll always want to cover up her arms. So something like that.
A lot of people do actually.
Yeah.
I don't really.
I just don't think people notice people's arms, do they?
I
But
don't,
people
but
have it in their heads,
yeah.
I think. Yeah. So what you want to do with your capsule is make sure it's working hard for you. So you want your items to work. So that's where it comes into the next part of the blog, which is all about looking at how to look after your capsule and your pieces.
Okay.
Because actually it can, because you're wearing the items a lot, you know, you're not spreading it a lot of items out over 6 months, let's say, because we're going to do the 2 season changes. So yeah, it's about just taking care of it quite well and changing the bits as you go where you need to. So one of the first things that I write about, let me just check, is what we just said about changing and reviewing it seasonally.
Right, okay.
So I also do the thing where I pack away all the winter stuff and I bring out all the spring stuff. That still needs to be done, but instead of just packing them away, it's about looking at the clothes and going, right, what has a hole, what has a stain, does this still fit me? You know, because for example over Christmas people might put on a bit of weight, so then, you know, packing something away that actually just essentially doesn't fit you anymore is kind of almost, it defeats the object, because you don't know if it's going to fit you the following year. The same issue might happen again. If it's an item that's just suddenly become a bit unwearable for whatever reason, whether, you know, you've dropped something down it, you can't get the stain out, just get rid of it.
Sometimes that can break your heart. Though.
It can, and that is one of the things.
It's a lovely piece and you go,
yeah,
oh, I've got to get rid of that.
Got to get rid of it, and especially when you're looking at a capsule, you kind of want to have a few higher priced items because they're going to last you longer. And you might keep these items for 10 years, but at some point, you know, you're going to have to get rid of it. Either it will be out of date, or yeah, something will happen to it, or you just don't like it anymore to wear, but you still kind of have that place for it in your heart. So yeah, you can get really attached to these items because you are wearing them so much. You know, they kind of become like your little family of clothes. So, you know, yeah, it is just about twice a year looking through the whole thing and going, right, where do I need to replace, where do I need to fix or get it tailored or whatever it is. But it's fine to donate or sell on because you can replace it, and that's exciting too. But what you want to do is kind of create your list. So if you get rid of something, put it on a list so you know that that's what you need to replace, because it's too tempting otherwise. If you are someone who's drawn to a capsule, you don't want overflowing cupboards like mine. So you know, you kind of don't want to go into a shop going, oh, I love everything, I'm going to have it all. You want to try and take that stress away, go in with a list and get the pieces that you need, because it just takes away that anxiety.
The difficulty I think with that is, you know, it's all great, but you know, some of those things that you talk about, those capsule timeless pieces, you can never replace.
No, I know, it's really
tough. You tell me you could and tell me
No.
how.
Well, funnily enough, I was talking to a friend earlier and she says what she does is she always looks on eBay. So if there is something that you've fallen in love with and you've had it for 10 years or 15 years, always check on things like eBay, because you never know. You know, someone else might have it, but the chances are they'll probably have a slightly damaged one as well, because if it's that old, you know, the reason you're getting rid of yours is there's damage or a mark, or it doesn't, you know, they might have a size up or a size down if it doesn't fit, but yeah, the chances are it's still going to have slight issues. So unless you're creating a wardrobe where you don't mind those little issues, yeah, it's harder. You know, sort of think of the positive of, I can go out and buy something new and fresh and keep that for 15 years. It's kind of looking at things that you're going to love, and that sort of brings us on to the next thing. Over the course of however many years you're going to keep pieces, whether they're trend pieces that you keep for a couple of years or the timeless pieces, you can fall out of love with things. And I quote sort of Marie Kondo in the blog, if it doesn't bring you joy, what is the point in keeping it? And I have to say, although I have a lot of stuff in my wardrobe,
I like that actually.
What's that?
If it doesn't bring you joy.
Yeah.
I've not heard of that.
Oh,
actually.
yeah, Marie
Not
Kondo.
surprisingly, I've got a boutique and I've never heard of that.
Well,
But
she's not just fashion. Marie Kondo did the Netflix program all about cleaning up and cleaning out your life, and it wasn't just fashion; it was people's homes and everything, and it was about sparking joy. If it doesn't spark joy, just get rid of it. Because what's the point?
because you don't actually, I'm thinking about just instantly. A few pieces come to mind that actually I maybe like the pieces, but I don't maybe like them on me, so therefore it doesn't bring me joy.
Yeah.
But they're in my wardrobe because I actually like them, and I don't really, I'm just thinking of a long sort of navy waistcoat cardigan that I've got with a collar, and actually I love it, but I never wear it.
Well, it might occasionally get pulled out and tried on. You go, no, it's not
Yeah.
right again.
Yeah.
Put it back.
And
Yeah.
it's maybe the joy thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, especially with a capsule, you need those items. I've just said they need to work hard for you. So if you've got something that's just in your wardrobe, I mean, maybe put it away for a year,
See
until the
whether
next
you
season.
get to like
Yes,
it, get
exactly.
attached.
And when you do those season changes, kind of look back at if you're in sort of spring, summer, and you're doing a changeover, look through the winter stuff for that transition period, because you might be thinking, oh, I really want something red to kind of put over this summer dress for the autumn months. I'll go and buy something, but actually you might have something red in your winter that you have forgotten about that you could just pull out. So that you just never know. If you want an extra layer, that might come in handy.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily want to just get rid of everything. That wouldn't be necessarily a good idea. Some people love that and they're like, cut and dry, that's it, that's all gone, next.
No, it's formed too much attachment, I think.
Yeah,
to things,
and I think that most people do with their clothes. They live with them, don't they? It's like another
I've
partner.
made that mistake before. I mean, I think of about probably 4 or 5 things in my adult life that I've had. One was a dress I remember years ago when I was, I don't know, 20. I wore in Tunisia, and I don't know where it went, but I would love to have that dress.
Yeah.
Another was a little red skirt. Another one was a pink coat. I know those.
You've remembered them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's too emotional to think about it.
My mum said earlier, she said, clogs are back in. I had the most amazing pair of clogs and they're back in. She just wished she'd kept them. She's like, they're so ugly, but I loved them. And I think that's it. Like, if you take care of your stuff and sort of love it, and put it away nicely, and then it's always going to be there. And then if it gets damaged, then you can move it
So you're
on.
also saying perhaps just don't necessarily be radical and throw it out, or get rid of it or resell it on, but keep it for a couple of years or a year.
If you
and
genuinely
bring
love
it back
if
out,
there's something there, because it's that the blue sort of waistcoat, as you say, it's not bringing you that joy. It doesn't make you feel excited to necessarily wear it, but you do love it, and it might be a really good piece to just kind of keep a hold of for a bit, because there's something there.
it might be
If
something.
there's nothing there,
Yeah.
get rid of it, I would
Right,
say.
okay.
And always, this is completely separate to the blog, but I did this with my mum. We went through all of her wardrobe, which is much bigger than mine, and we went through everything and put it into maybe pile, keep pile, like just sort of get rid of because it was damaged or whatever, rag pile, and then also charity shop pile. And we did that, and it was so good, and she loved it. She's like, I can see all my clothes, and she got so excited. And you couldn't call it a capsule wardrobe by any stretch of the imagination, but it was suddenly so apparent where she had, the colour or that style, or sort of too much or something, or not enough or something, and she could suddenly use her wardrobe really well rather than it just being full. So that's where it's like looking at things that you love and making sure you've got those items in your wardrobe, and if you've fallen out of love with something, pass it on to someone else who will love it, essentially.
Okay.
Always, before you start shopping, I was just saying, always look to your wardrobe first, because you just never know what you've already got in there. You kind of dig something out of a box that you put away 3 years ago, in my case, and you think, oh, I can't believe that. It's like a whole new wardrobe you might suddenly find somewhere, and it's so exciting. But then, not necessarily, not everyone has that many clothes. It could just be me. And if you're that person, come to Ruby Lala. Investing in quality pieces is another big thing, and I sort of touched on this just now, but really making sure when you are creating that capsule that you're spending more money where you need to and less money where you need to, because it's so tempting, I think, to go, I need a leather jacket now, because I haven't got a leather jacket, and Charlotte says I need one in my capsule, and just going and buying a really, you know, high-end leather jacket or whatever it is, and it's the classics that need to have the money spent on them. So a really good pair of jeans, you know, and you know, like a really lovely sort of neutral jacket.
Could you really tell the difference between a really good pair of jeans?
Well, it's the fit.
I'm a bit like that with wine. I'm not sure I can tell the difference between a really good wine.
Well, it's more, you would know, I suppose, because it's the fit of them, it's how they wash, it's how they last. I mean, if you're wearing this item day in, day out throughout the winter, you're going to know if you've spent, you know, 50 quid or 5 quid. Or 500 quid and 50 quid. So yeah, so just really lovely quality items that are going to last you, like, you know, these jackets of yours, which are just so beautiful, so soft.
Sorry, it's been on a mannequin, that's why it's sort of
Oh, that's why it's turned up
to make it look.
No, it's just got turned up. But yeah, you want to look for these kinds of items. This will go with everything. You can throw it on over everything. It will work incredibly hard for you.
Perfect colour.
Perfect colour for everything. You know, like I was saying, like with this even, it just popping that over that with a pair of little boots or some pumps or, you know, whatever, and you just go down the pub in that.
She's having a laugh, isn't she?
Well,
maybe a few more weeks,
A few more weeks. But yeah, you know, like just something that you can just think together, but it's going to last you. When you start looking at things like trend items, that's where you maybe want to sort of save the pennies a little bit, because things come and go. And since you're looking at creating a capsule, you don't want your capsule suddenly full of taffeta or whatever happens to be on trend at the time.
Animal print or something like
yes,
that.
exactly. Like sort of, you know,
that has been in
neon animal print.
Years
it has. I don't think it's going anywhere either. I think, you know, it has become a bit of a classic staple, hasn't it, really? And it's funny because everyone always used to be like the cat Slater leopard print, you know, but actually I think everyone slightly loves it now. I don't want it to go anywhere. I absolutely love a bit of animal print. The more animals, the better, in fact. You know, a bit of zebra on the feet, snakes on the legs, leopard on top.
Oh, here I go, mortified again.
Do it. But yeah, so when we're looking at kind of trend items, you might be looking at something I thought like this, which I just thought was so pretty. And again, it's still got that classic kind of appeal, but it's got the chains, and the chains are one of those things that have sort of, they were 80s, weren't they, a little bit, and then they sort of came back round, I think, and then now they're back again. So it's one that you probably could put away quite happily for 10 and 20 years, and it would come back for sure. As you were saying, you know, all those items you got rid of, that you think,
or you could be different. You could be different, and people could say,
you don't
that's
have
really
to go
unusual.
by trend, no. Exactly. You know, if you absolutely love this, and you know, it's not bright, is it? So it could easily be a neutral, but for someone else.
Would I go with that jacket, or would it be too much with that jacket?
It's a slightly different sort of tone.
Is it? Oh yes, it is. I can see that now. Yeah, no.
But
well, not overly, but
you could.
Get
I
the
mean,
picture.
in fact, I think that sort of grey bit could kind of pull in there. Yeah, might be a bit much with the lace as well. But anyway, yeah. So something like that could easily probably be part of the capsule, but also it's sort of the chains is more what I'm referring to with that. The idea of the trend, and the shacket. I love it. But for this, again, you're looking at a kind of trend piece, because these sort of shackets have come back in over winter, and now we're going into your spring, and actually this would be really nice on a cooler summer evening, and you could probably easily have this for a good few years. But a trend doesn't necessarily mean like an overnight sort of a sort of here today, gone tomorrow. Trends can last a good few years, so there's nothing wrong with buying those items, but it's just making sure that you buy what you are going to wear, what you are going to love. What someone else would buy is not what you would buy, just to kind of bring a little bit of colour and style into your capsule, because bearing in mind the capsule's neutrals.
And
So
these
it's bringing
just
the colour.
perfect for those people sitting outside the pubs at the moment,
Exactly.
because they're quite light.
Yes.
They can be thrown over a pair of jeans, and they are so warm.
They are. I wore it, didn't I, a few weeks ago, and it was so cold in here.
I've got a
Oh,
shorter
so
one, and
cosy.
it's brilliant because it's like having a bit of a cardigan.
It
I
is.
like that feel. I
Yeah.
don't like a jacket that feels
No,
restrictive and uncomfortable, and
it's
that
really
doesn't at
light,
all.
isn't it?
Yeah,
As well, yeah.
but it's
So,
really,
yeah.
really warm.
It's just about bringing a little bit of personality into your wardrobe, as well. You don't necessarily just want to have all the sort of plain items alone, although you might, some people do, you know, and they look wonderfully classic. And then I just loved this. This is just another one of those items that I thought it's probably a trend item, you know, with the colour and you know, sort of these sort of moto jackets come and go, don't they? But again, it's another one you can kind of keep and just have in your wardrobe to pull out when you're feeling a little bit like you want something a bit spangly. But it could easily stay in a capsule for a good few years.
And it's interesting because I think you've used that one before. So
Have I?
I think you may have done.
I'm not very interesting, am I?
No, I'm just thinking it's interesting. Probably unconsciously, your mind is working on the capsule, the classic style.
Yeah, absolutely. But then trying to bring in that twist. So if you've got your capsule little skirt like that, and then just put it with, I think, did we have this? Maybe it was in a different colour. But
I can't remember. But
those two, you know,
it's that style.
you've got your classic cream, and then it's just that little pop of personality, and that's where you can have fun with it, because you can really, you don't have to worry about your wardrobe. You've got all the bits you need, and that's where you can start going, right, what do I want in my wardrobe, rather than going into a shop feeling completely overwhelmed, thinking, oh my gosh, there's so much, I don't know where to start. You've already got your starting place. It's at home in the cupboard. Now what do I fancy picking up and popping in with it? Exactly, yeah. And obviously you can do that with jewellery as well, and shoes. A lot of people spend the most money really on things like outerwear, like a really lovely coat, bags, like a big sort of,
I love that new bag.
it's so sweet. That would be one that would kind of, you'd sort of have, you know, to kind of like pull out every now and again. It's not your day-to-day handbag, is it?
But
it's a bit
how
fabulous.
lovely just to wear a pair of jeans,
Exactly, yeah.
white shirt, and that.
That's your personality pop, isn't it? I mean, it's so sweet. Yeah. So that's kind of where the money is spent usually with people who do this kind of thing, is the shoes, the bags, and the outerwear, and a really nice pair of jeans. And then all these other things that can just be kind of added in and just create your personal style without the stress.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. Yeah. So, anything else on the sort of?
No, but I think that's where we came to really.
Wardrobe. Yeah. I think there's quite a lot there to come. And it's interesting because I think it does mix in with some of the stuff that, or overlap, should I say, mix in.
That's it, yeah.
But overlap with some of the stuff that you've sort of talked about. Because you were talking about just even classic pieces of jewellery and things like that. So you're 30 to 50 amount.
Yes, exactly.
All that
everything. And even, I mean, if you want to be really hardcore, you can do your pyjamas and everything, and your pants and your bras. It depends how rigid you want to be with things like that. Some people find their underwear extremely important as part of their overall, you know, life. Well, I don't really. I'm like, that's clean, that'll do. There's a lot of information there for people. But, you know, as long as it's clean, I'm fine. Whereas some people, you know, they'll go and buy really beautiful high-end pieces, and that's part of their, you know, getting ready in the morning or whatever. So, it depends how you want to be. Also, the other things you can kind of look at is things like looking at your ideal colour palette. So, you know, there are sort of the winters and the springs. What's going to suit you. So if you really want to dig deep into it, you can go down that route.
That aspect comes into it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I think generally people have an idea of what suits them, you know, and if you don't, come here, try it on. You know, you've got this wonderful mirror that shows you the back and the front of you. So, you know, you can kind of see yourself really clearly. You've got amazing people who know what they're talking about to kind of give you advice, and you know your clothes better than anyone. So I think, you know, you can go and get some advice if you're not sure on your colours, rather than going too sort of mind-blowingly deep into it. And also just personal style. You know, one person will suit something frilly, someone else will suit something just a really nice classic button-down white shirt. So
it's interesting with colours, because I think sometimes people need to just listen to their own inner voice. Because, you know, before I have actually had my colours done, but that was only about a year ago or so. I probably can't remember a lot of what was said, but I just know from putting something up, if I like something, I just generally in the changing room go, put one on, but hold the other one up, and listen to what just like, you can see when you get lifted, when your face lifts,
exactly.
And it's just, you know, sometimes people don't take the time to think and concentrate about it. Sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but
no, it's true.
You
put it on,
just believe in your.
Yes.
Just take that time to, you know, I'm always saying to customers, just pop that one on and bring the other one out with you, and we'll have a look at. You know, and generally.
You kind of want to put it to your face, don't you?
having a look, and you know. So you may not know all the technical terms and everything like that, but you just know, your gut feeling tells you that actually that one looks better on me than that one.
And I think you're generally more drawn to the colours that kind of suit you as well, aren't you? That's the other thing. So.
And also the shades of those colours, because I know shades.
We were saying last week about the reds, weren't we? Red lipstick. I mean, all the different reds you can possibly get. So it's quite easy to get overwhelmed by these things, but don't. You know, there are so many people out there who can help, or just YouTube's full of advice.
And I also think potentially different times. I mean, not that I'm an expert in this by any stretch of the imagination, but I know just personally for me, in the summer, I don't tend to sit in the sun and stuff, so I use a bit of that old fake tan. But so in the summer, yellow is actually quite a nice colour on me.
I'm the same.
In the winter,
no,
because I'm not fake tanning in the winter.
Exactly.
So you know, again, I think different times of the year, different age, what age you're at.
And I think one thing that you suited or that you liked even a year ago will be completely different, and that's why the sort of twice a year check-in with your wardrobe is really important, whether you have a capsule or not, because there's no point just having something, is there? If you just genuinely don't like it, don't suit it, don't want it, just get rid of it.
Okay, so what's on the schedule for next week?
No idea.
No, we didn't know this last week either. Well, I was just thinking that, well, in the press I've started to see Ascot and stuff being mentioned.
Yes.
I guess Ascot's not going ahead. Is Ascot going ahead this year?
They had the races the other day, didn't they? But then it was all closed down, so...
But Ascot's post the 21st of June.
Ooh, I don't know.
Well, it's usually about the 21st of June, 20th of June, so I don't know.
I've
got a feeling it's not on, but I'm not sure.
Sort of weddings and parties and that kind of, you know, like looking at maybe...
People are starting to wear some wedding stuff, or coming in asking for wedding outfits or fascinators or bags to go with it.
It is, you've got some lovely fascinators and hats. It's sort of coming to that time of year, isn't it? So maybe we could look at that, or if anyone has any ideas of topics,
just let us know and we'll cover them.
All
right, well, okay, look, thank you very much for joining us. And we shall let Charlotte go home to her children. Well, hopefully
we'll be on the other side of the sofa.
And then next week we will be back on our usual sofa side. Yeah, definitely. It's very we did quite well considering we're both so uncomfortable about it. So what does that say? We'll have to look at the psychology of all of that. All right, so have a lovely week, everybody, and we'll see you next week.